Hey family, Tony Palo here. I want to take a couple of minutes of your time to talk about your thought process, right? The Bible talks about, the Apostle Paul says, taking every thought captive and making sure that it's obedient to Christ and his word. Your thought process is so important. I want to use the illustration of a garden, right? And I know hopefully in a couple of short weeks here, maybe months, there's some of you going to start your gardening, all right? Part of the garden process is that anything that you don't want inside your garden, what do? You take it out. You don't take out the plant. You don't just take out the flowering weed. You take out the root of what you see. So when we talk about your thought process, I want you to think about your mind and your heart being a garden. Anything that does not belong in that garden, we must take out. And so the problem that I have, I don't know if you have the same problem, but the problem that I have sometimes is I just take out what I see and not the root. All right, we got to go deep into those thought process and deep. And when the Bible says take out every thought captive, literally, it's like catching those thoughts before they become a flowering, budding weed. Because some of those weeds do look very, very pretty, but all it does is infest the entire garden. I want you to think about your heart right now, in your mind as a garden. What thoughts are in your heart? What thoughts are in your mind that have a tendency of infesting the entire garden, infesting your life, infesting and infecting your entire thought process? Think about those things. The Bible says, take those thoughts. Never allow a thought to become a behavior. So it doesn't say capturing every behavior. It says capturing every thought captive. Before it becomes a habit, before it becomes an action, before it becomes a behavior, we take that thought captive and take that thought. First thing that happens, don't dwell on those things if it's going to infect your garden. You know those things, those thoughts that infect your entire garden. Taking those thoughts captive and making sure that we surrender it to the Lord. Taking every thought captive. Seconds count when you're trying to take those thoughts captive. So process with me now those things in your life, those thoughts in your life that infect the entire garden. That it's a seed, and then the seed becomes a weed, and then it's like even more difficult to get rid of in your life. Get those thoughts when they become seeds. In fact, as soon as the seed hits the ground of your mind, take it out. Making it subjected to the obedience of the Lord. Is this thought something that God celebrates in me? Does this thought match the future? Does this thought match my goals, my dreams, my plans, my persuasions for my future? And I keep prophesying this over your life, that your future is bright. But if you have a thought that sabotages your future, that's the thought that you got to take captive. Taking every thought captive and bringing it under and subject it to the obedience of Christ, which means if it does not line up with what God says about you, it's a weed. If it lines up with what God says about you, then this prophetic word that I speak over you, your future is bright, will come to pass. Take every thought captive. My friend, do that every morning. Do that in the first 30 seconds of your day, taking every thought captive to make sure that those infecting thoughts do not become behaviors. I'll see you around. Your future is bright.